Okay, so I'm digging into this Panasonic RQ-40 tape player recorder that I got from that estate sale, and I think I have come across what is the absolute worst case of belt melting I have ever seen in a tape deck this age. I mean, I've seen Sony tape decks, their belts get really kind of... They feel like they melt. Like the belts themselves actually melt. Like this right here. This is part of what's left of the belt that ran this tape player. Which is interesting, you know. This is an RQ-40. And this one was my dad's. I think he got it way back in the early 90s. Maybe the late 80s. But it's an RQ-44A. And it still works fantastically. Despite the way it looks. The handle's broken and everything, but it works great. And the belt is still good on it. It's still got the original belt. This one, on the other hand, is... Look at this. Okay, that piece is kind of okay, but the way it just splits, and you see the black mess on the end of my pliers right now. It's just absolutely disgusting. And all of this, that came from the inside. That came from the spool. Yeah, came from inside there, and it's probably still stuck to the inside of this part. I'm probably gonna have to actually remove this part from the tape deck to get the rest of it out. Yeah, I can see it in there. It is stuck to the metal. So I'm actually going to have to pull the C-clip out of this and pull the reel out the other side. Yeah, okay, so now you can see what's left of the belts are stuck on the reel. And I'm going to have to scrape this off. And yeah, check it out. So yeah, I'm just pretty much making a huge fat mess here out of this belt. Jeez. That is just straight up ridiculous. What do they make these things out of? Pure oil or something? I mean, I know rubber is petroleum-based, but come on. Okay, so given the circumstances, I'd say I got this thing pretty well cleared up. I've got the secondary reel sort of clean. This guy's looking alright now. I mean, it ain't perfect by any means, but at least it should be able to take a belt and run with it. This guy doesn't turn freely because it's spring loaded, but it turns better than it did. And then this guy, of course, it's a flywheel. And I gotta get the clamp for it back in place. Or C-clip rather, I guess. Whoops. And that'll go right there in the middle of the part that doesn't want to focus. Yep, it's just a plastic C-clip, so it's pretty easy to work with. Well, maybe not super easy, but yeah, just get down there. There you go. And now the thing will spin freely on there. Right where it should. And now I find out if I have a belt or two belts. I'm not sure, but it looks like I could actually run this as a single belt deck if I got one that's long enough from old tape decks that I've torn apart in my time. I got these two here, and this one's kind of melty from another Sony deck. Yeah, it's stretching way too easily. It's more like a rubber band than a belt. Because belts aren't supposed to stretch like this. At least not that much. So I'm not going to use that one, and this one unfortunately is not long enough for even the secondary drive. Oh well, that means I probably don't have any that work. So let's see if I can slip this one on here and see if it'll even work at all. Get on there. Get on there. Yeah, this thing is like totally melty already. There we go. Yeah, it's not gonna like it by any means. This belt is melty. Should probably just toss it. But we'll see if it works first. Got my AA batteries masquerading as C-cell batteries in their special holders. And now I'm gonna see if this thing will even work. Okay, that's my stop, that's my pause. We'll go with fast forward. Nope, and it just wrapped the belt right around the spindle. Yay! Fantastic. This belt is not going to work at all. Okay then, I guess we know that now. Crap. How many times did you wrap around? Damn. Alright, let's try that again. No, not down there. POS. Okay, it's supposed to turn this way. But it's not gonna work. This belt sucks. Yeah, it's not gonna work at all. Not even gonna try. Yeah. That sounds fantastic. Oh, it's rubbing on the speaker. Oops. Well, it's loosening up a little bit. Let's go to play. Probably wouldn't play very well. But at least the tape deck works. It's turned all the way up. Yep. So all I need to do is find a belt that'll work. And I think the reason it doesn't have the full belt is because this might get in the way of it. But I'm not sure. Maybe not. No, it really shouldn't. About the only thing that would get in the way is that capacitor right there. Anyway, yeah, it's spinning right now, but I'm not leaving this belt on it because it's a mess. Let me see if I can find any other belts I might have. So here we have all the old belts and flywheels I've pulled out of old tape decks over the years to use as just funky tops. They make great little tops, I tell you. Well, not that one so much. I gotta have so much of it sticking out. These two came out of an old Silverado tape deck. 90 Silverado, actually. I think it was my dad's old 90 Silverado tape deck. And most of these other ones, I can't remember what came out of what, but anyway. Bunch of old belts, but ain't none of them big enough. This one actually might be, but there's only one. Unless, but I really don't think this one would be long enough either. Plus it's stretchy like the other one was. Actually, it's not as bad as the other one was. I'll take these two and we'll check them. Yeah, they'll spin forever if you let them. So just looking at this, I can tell the extra long belt is extra too long. And my tree just turned on. Yeah, as you can see, a little too long for that one. I don't even know what that one came off of, but whatever it was freaking huge. And probably one of those auto reverse decks. But here, let's look at this one. This one might actually work. Okay, let me make sure it's on the right reels. It is, so let's hit play. Aha! It works! And it doesn't easily stop. Hang on. This thing is not auto stop, so anything I do is going to stop it dead. Yeah, this one's gonna work. Alrighty then. Come on, go. There we go. Cool. Very cool. And that one won't melt quite so soon. Well, hopefully. So I'm going to put this thing back together now, and then we can test the tape. Okay, so I'm sure y'all saw the same way I did when I first opened this thing up. It probably had 2 belts. Because, as you can see by the way this one was, there's no way it could have been reaching all the way around all 3 spindles at once. So, I'm really confused because having 2 separate belts on this thing was entirely unnecessary in the first place, and I'll show you why. See that dotted line right there on the edge of the circuit board? It lines up with that right there. And there's nothing else sticking up under here, as you might notice, except for that screw right there, which isn't tall enough to interfere with anything. So I'll drop this in here, line up all the screw holes, get the mic in place, and as you can see, the belt lines up with that dashed line perfectly. And it works. So I'm a little confused as to why there were 2 belts in this thing in the first place. When both of the non-motor spools are the same size. Like there's no gear reduction or anything between this spool and that spool, so there's really no reason to have 2 separate belts. So it's not going to anymore. It's gonna be a single belted deck, and it's gonna work. Awesome. I honestly did not think I would get that lucky to have a belt that actually perfectly fits this thing. Like I did with the Sony underneath that silver CD player, underneath that power supply right there. You see I've got a whole bunch of portable tape decks and CD decks now and everything. It's like, they all work. That's the crazy part, they actually all work. 2 of them because I replaced belts in. Go figure. So, we'll finish this thing. And now I'm going to make a recording for my video, and it's going to be freaking awesome, because I'm going to... Wait, that didn't work. This will, though, because I will make it go fast whether it likes it or not. The whole thing works, by the way. So, record, but I shall try it anyway by pulling the thing. I'm back. And it's not really going to grow slow quite as much as it's going to grow fast. The funny thing is, the RQ-40 has a pause button, but it doesn't do slow record very well that way. And now I'm going to make a recording for my video, and it's going to be freaking awesome. Wait, that didn't work. This will, though, because I will make it or not. The whole thing works, by the way. As noted!